So in this part of the competition, you're taking on a fictional identity in a business setting and assigning a fictional identity to the judges. So tell us who we are in this part of the role playing. Make sure everyone knows who you are and who they are being asked to pretend to be. You'll have 25 minutes without interruption to describe the legal, financial, and ethical dimensions of the problem and to recommend a solution that passes muster on all counts. During this time, the teams will not be interrupted. When you're finished, the judges will stay in character in the roles you've assigned us and ask you questions for 10 or 15 minutes. And during the Q&A, you and the judges will remain in character. After the Q&A, we'll all take a deep breath and we'll have a chance to give you some feedback. So before we start, Fareed, you want to tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Barney. My name is Fareed Mosier. I'm from Austin, Texas. I am an event producer, mostly working on major music festivals. I have been with a company called C3 Presents that's owned by Live Nation. And over the course of a decade or so, I've focused on the good stuff of festivals, things like sustainability programs, guest services programs, accessibility, and community outreach. So prior to my time with C3, I was with ESPN and I worked on the X Games. And currently I own my own company called Barnstorm, and I'm working on the NFL draft. Happy to be here.
Good. Thank you, Fareed. My name is Barney Rosenberg. I am trying very hard to be retired. After spending a couple of years in Brazil, where I became fluent in Portuguese, and I already spoke Spanish, I went to law school. And during the early part of my legal career, I was a trial lawyer defending white-collar companies from criminal charges. Went on to be the vice president for litigation and investigations for a major American aerospace company. And for the last 15 years, I was the global ethics officer for a British company and traveled around the world solving problems. So that's who I am. All right, I'm going to start the clock. Hopefully I will remember to give you a 2-minute warning when we're getting close to the end of your 25-minute presentations. So here we go, and you can begin anytime you're ready.
So first, before we start, let me introduce who we are and who we are as the judges. So we are here to present our proposal to Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, and we are Cityling Consulting to help with their sustainability goals. After analyzing data and brainstorming options, we are here to present our findings with the board members of Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality. So let me share the screen first, and then we can start. Good morning, Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality Board of Directors. It's very nice to be here today, and I'm excited to introduce my colleagues from Cityling Consulting to you. I am Melek.
I am Sena.
I am Tuba.
So we are grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you, and we would like to propose to you a business sustainability plan for your efficient community, given the challenges that you are facing in the community. So today's agenda is as the following. First, we will start with the situation background with the problems that you are facing. After that, we will propose you a solution. Then we will make an analysis in terms of legal, financial, and ethical. And in the end, we will give a brief summary. So cities are our future, and we know that by the 2050, more than 70% of the world's population will live in one. But how will our world cope under the strain of 3 billion more city dwellers? Together, cities already consume 80% of material and energy resources and produce 75% of all carbon emissions. Their high concentration of people and infrastructure make them vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, like rising sea levels, higher temperatures, and storm damage. And in the developing world, many cities are growing faster than the infrastructure that is needed to support them. So sustainability is the key, and cities are striving for it. Where cities are sustainable, they are more competitive, more attractive to people and investment, and more able to lift their citizens out of poverty and provide them with a great place to live, work, and play. So, all over the world, cities rich and vibrant in their own cultures are shaping their own ambitious plans for their sustainable futures, but sharing common aims to take real action on climate change, to encourage the economic development to their benefit, not the detriment of the environment, to become more resilient to disasters and a changing climate, and to improve the quality of life and well-being of citizens, fostering supportive and inclusive communities in which can thrive. So cities all over the world are bursting with people. More than half of us live in cities now. And as I mentioned in the beginning, again, UN predicts that by 2050, that number jumps to nearly 70%, and that's a lot of people. When we look at Istanbul, ecologic and socioeconomic structure of the city requires a smart and sustainable urban management approach. Istanbul is an ancient city that hosted many civilizations over a 8,000 years long history. As a result of its strategic location between Asia and Europe, it has been an economic and cultural hub and intersection point. Its population quickly increased after the establishment of the Republic. Nearly 15 million people reside in Istanbul today, making it the most populated city in Europe and one of the megacities worldwide. Increased industrial and commercial activities, fueled by its high population, exert ever increasing pressures on infrastructure, superstructure, and ecosystems.
Istanbul has experienced a complicated period from an ancient metropolis to a sprawling megacity, growing from just over 2 million registered inhabitants in 1970 to 50 million today. The high population rate results in an increase in urbanization, industrialization, and transportation. One of the most critical risks that will occur as a result of high population will be inadequate public transport. Public transport in Istanbul comprises a bus network, various rail systems, funiculars, and maritime services to serve the more than 15 million inhabitants of the city. The average time that people spend commuting with public transit in Istanbul, for example, to and from work on a weekday is 6 to 8 minutes. About 47% of public transit users ride for more than 2 hours every day. The average amount of time people wait at a stop or station for public transit is 13 minutes, and 17% of riders wait for over 20 minutes on average every day. The average distance that people usually ride in a single trip by public transit is 9 kilometers, and 24% travel for over 12 kilometers. So due to these problems, the use of cars is increasing. According to data of Turkish Statistical Institute, almost 20% of total motor vehicles and almost 25% of total cars in Turkey are registered in Istanbul. The data of Energy Market Regulatory Authority indicated that the city of Istanbul consumed 18% of total fuel used in Turkey. Such high level of fuel consumption and subsequent emissions impose massive environmental costs. In Istanbul alone, traffic congestion accounts for $3 billion in wasted time. In a global scale, Istanbul with 55% of congestion level, which is an indicator of the travel time percentage that people are spending in congested traffic, is among the first 6 megacities with more than 8 million inhabitants and over 50% congestion time. In planning projects carried out by ministries and municipalities, problems of the existing transportation system, such as increasing private car ownership, inadequacy of the public transport network, have been discussed extensively. Reports indicate that existing mobility and transport problems arise from similar reasons: failures to adopt smart and sustainable transportation principles and thereof. Unsustainable transport policies based on road transport and fossil fuels that generate not only social and economic burdens on society, but also irreversible impacts on environment.
On the other side, pollution, including noise generated by circulation, has become an impediment to the quality of life and even the health of urban populations. Also, being the city with the highest greenhouse gas emissions in Turkey, Istanbul must lead in mitigation. According to Turkish Statistical Institute, Istanbul is responsible for approximately 10% of greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, it's crucial to find solutions that can decrease the impact of private vehicles in traffic and lead to sustainable mobility systems in Istanbul by means of new technologies and sustainable transport. So, our goal here is to help you for a brighter future with your energy. And how to grow a city with So how to grow a city sustainably? And with the problems that we explained, figuring out how we do that is more important than ever before. For a city, it's creating more renewable energy than the dirty energy it uses. It's all about achieving a net zero. And our plan is focusing on mobility, pollution, energy, and creating green public spaces, improving urban planning and management in a participatory and inclusive way. As a pilot project, 10-kilometer two-way bike line named as Bike and Go in the selected street will be built. First of all, this could be done on a short distance route, a route that is used many times a day and has centers. We choose this street because this is one of the most crowded and used streets in Istanbul, and there are many universities, hospitals, shopping centers over the street, as you can see in the map. 10-kilometer long intermediate distance that can be reached without having to drive a motor vehicle will be available to everyone. It will be very easy and very practical to use the cycle path, which passes many central points of the city. So we propose to build a cycle line as a pilot project, which will have a solar-powered roof, providing shelter from sun and rain for cyclists while generating energy. So solar panels will provide enough electricity to power the lights along the street as well as other electric demand for the city. Solar panel bike line is expected to generate 70 kilowatt per square meter annually. The city will provide bicycles and one ticket will be $0.55 and people will be able to get them from various stations along the bike line. The cyclists that will be using the road will be separated from regular traffic on the road via guardrail, while the solar panels will provide cover and shade from weather. So we offer a clean transit option that utilizes unused median space in an existing road while providing renewable energy. Also, knowing that bicycles are a rich source of kinetic energy, we propose harvesting the kinetic energy from small-scale motions of bicycle, such as weaving back and forth to maintain balance. And according to the Young ETL study, it is possible to harvest energy from natural balancing motion of riding a bike by using micro-electromechanical systems. Based on the 3D motion analysis, they designed and implemented prototype of an electrodynamic energy harvester that can be mounted on the bicycle handlebar to collect energy from side-to-side movement. The harvester was found to generate substantial electric output power of 6.6 megawatt from normal riding. Moreover, harvesting of energy from viewing motion seems to increase the economy of cycling by helping efficient usage of human power. So we propose to use this prototype in our bicycles. And knowing that there are many universities over the street will let to generate efficient energy from bicycles too. 7,000 university students over the street, let's say 80% of them bike about 15 minutes a day. This is about 1,400 hours of bike riding per day. Biking at a casual energy output 50 volt yields, and this yields 490 volts. So university students could collectively harvest over 160 kilowatt each week. The feasibility of the concept was verified by experimental results. Also, according to experiments, this energy harvester can supply the power for most of the portable electronic devices. This system, which can generate electricity with human energy, will also contribute to the fitness of human body by meeting the daily sports activity of individuals to some extent.
Promoting emission-free transportation is especially important for Istanbul that hasn't seemed to embrace biking as means of commuting. This bike line will be promoted to people by supporting public service as an account will be created on social media. People can share their experiences through social media and influence each other. So people will be motivated for not harming the environment. Also, in order to increase the awareness, we plan to develop mobile application of Bike and Go. As shown in the picture, the mobile application will look like this. There will be a barcode on the right corner of app, so every time people ride, will scan their QR code, and they will be able to look how much kilometer they did while cycling. While this provides a personal motivation, raise awareness as well. We will also introduce a reward system for a use. People who will download and create account on the application will see the goal as 50 kilometer cycling. The line right there will show how many kilometers cycled and how many left reward. When they will reach the goal, they will get the reward. They will be able to use the reward they get in one of two options. They will either choose on free usage for Bike and Go or one free ticket for the arts events in the city. So we will raise the awareness of the public about the reduction of carbon emissions and fossil fuel use with platform on social media, and with the mobile application, we will increase the usage. So now you heard of solutions that are commercially sound. Let's now analyze them in terms of legal, financial, and ethical dimensions. The first relevant law to discussion is the Metropolitan Municipality Law. It says that for the widespread use of bicycle transportation, in order to reduce emissions arising from transportation, it is essential to include bicycle transport in the transport master plans to be prepared within the scope of this law, or to prepare bicycle transport master plan. Another relevant law to discussion is environmental law. The purpose of this law is to protect the environment, which is the common assets of all living things, in line with the principles of sustainable environment and sustainable development. Here we see that our governments recognize the importance of the bicycle transport, and they want to have a sustainable livelihood. So all of two laws would actually help you raise the capital needed to start pilot projects.
Moving to financial analysis, we see that according to the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality public transport cost is one of the two highest in the city, and 2020 expense is about $292 million. The expenses are high, as you can see. At the same time, there is an inadequacy of public transport, and providing more vehicles will not be a sustainable and beneficial solution. This will just increase your expenses and can only resolve inadequate transport problem in a short term, because it's expected that the number of daily passengers using public transport will increase in 2023. So you will again face with the same problems in the future. The other highest cost in the city, according to the report, are energy consumption, and cost for 2020 is about $250,000. And according to energy consumption report, annual electricity consumption increased every year, as you can see in the chart. On the other side, our Bike and Go project is expected to generate 70 kilowatt per square meter annually, which means it meets the demand for the electricity of the city. So globally, a formula here is followed to estimate the electricity generated. In terms of financials, the capitalization of $10 million is required to implement this project. This consists cost of engineers and teams review, cost of materials to be used, operation cost, planning cost, solar panel cost, and cost of bikes. Although this may seem like an intimidating amount at first, this could be revised throughout various credit sources. First, government agency, which holds existing programs to give credit or loan. This will account for 45% of the capital requirement. Next are the Clean Energy Foundation that gives financial access for this kind of projects, and the remaining capital providers from crowdfunding, private organizations, and Istanbul Development Agency. The cost may be high, but this will result in a payback time of less than 6 years. Here is also the income contribution of the bike line. The ticket will be $0.55, and estimating that approximately 7,000 people will use each day, this will generate approximately $1 million annually. So as you can see, this bike line will also generate an income as well.
When we come to the ethical analysis, we see that there is a violation of ethics in public transport. One of them is to take more passengers than the vehicle can accommodate. Especially when we consider the COVID period, it becomes impossible to maintain social distance. Bus, metro bus are centers of disaster breaks. Citizens of Istanbul have to use these crowded vehicles every day. Passengers have to travel not in violation of their personal boundaries. Public transport is overly crowded, so sometimes drivers cannot close the doors of the vehicles. Also, taking so many passengers can be quite risky in an accident. This kind of journey puts people's lives at risk. We share the same atmosphere with many people, children, disabled people, and living creatures. The lack of public transport for people with disabilities is becoming more difficult than usual, since people are in rush and they are not sensitive to them. People stop seeing those around them because they are constantly chasing opportunities without leaving any space to think about others in crowded lives. And this brings along some ethical problems. Another unethical thing is the security issue. The problem becomes worse in Istanbul because of the lack of suitable and integrated approaches. Safety in public transportation closely related to human lives on a larger scale. According to the survey, the people of Istanbul do not trust public transportation. Using public transportation at night makes people nervous. People hear about harassment every day. This can be verbal or physical. When people encounter a problem, they are not sure that they will get support from a competent person. Roads can be dangerous sometimes, and not following traffic rules increases the risk of accidents. Drivers are generally aggressive, which is another factor that makes people uncomfortable and insecure. Time efficiency is another major ethical issue. People spend too much time waiting for the buses at the stop. So people have to wake up early in the morning and return to their homes later than usual in the evening. In addition, public transport routes are usually located on main streets, so it takes time to reach public transport. In general, people cannot go directly to where they want with a single vehicle. They have to transfer. The lack of infrastructure and the still use of non-smart system in cities cause the time spent in traffic to be prolonged. Air pollution is the formation of foreign substances in the air that can be harmful to human health, living life, and ecological balance. Transport appears to be one of the major sources affecting air pollution. Exhaust gas from motor vehicles, lead, and other toxic substances in the environment. While public transport is most used in big cities every day, we know that it causes a lot of damage to air and environment. People are running out in triangle of work, home, and school. In an established order, many people do not realize that many things lose their importance. However, these balances, which are important for the individual in life, are again shaken when the individual does not think about it sufficiently, which causes burnout syndrome. Because of this, people come out with stress and feeling of frustration. Ultimately, the reason why an individual suffers from burnout syndrome may come to the fore with the decreasing interest of individuals towards their physical and emotional abilities day by day on the crowded big cities, apart from the environmental factors.
But with our project, if this large crowd chooses the bike lane path, the overcrowding in public transport will naturally decrease. The noise in public transportation will decrease. Personal boundaries will also be preserved. Also, the spread of viruses will slow down. People on bicycles will naturally maintain social distance. With Bike and Go project, the problem will be solved without the need for additional trips and without increasing traffic congestion. Most importantly, everyone will have an access. And according to Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 21, everyone has the right of equal access to public service in his country. And with our project, people will be safer in mobility. This will be a new transportation option for people. In addition, the mass using this route will be freed from dangers. Meanwhile, as the number of people using public transport will switch to bicycle, travel safety in public transport will also increase. Also, the drivers will not feel unnecessarily nervous and be able to focus on the road. With our project, another one of the biggest problems of Istanbul, which takes too much time to reach from one point to another, will be solved. According to our estimations, an important audience will start using bicycles. This will reduce the amount of hop and hop-offs in public transport, which will shorten travel times. People who woke up early in the morning due to the traffic and returned home late problem will be solved. People will either use the bicycle path or use public transport as the time spent in traffic will decrease. With our project, we prevent also air pollution by looking for ways to consume less fuel or use energy resources efficiently. Whenever possible, people can make a personal contribution to the reduction of carbon emissions by opting for Bike and Go projects. So, using our bike line will be remarkably reduce environmental pollution. Also, the decrease in number of vehicles in traffic and seen in traffic will reduce carbon emissions significantly. In a comprehensive study published in the Scientific Lancet Psychiatry Journal in the United States, it was concluded that 45 minutes of exercise 3 to 5 times a week is beneficial for mental health. According to this journal, the most positive effect was team sports, cycling, and aerobics. In times of extreme stress, our ability to work, our level of durability, our perceptions, expressions, and general well-being are negatively affected. Too much of this situation also seriously reduces our quality of life. So people who will use our bike lane will be happy because they will be produce benefits and will become less stressful because they will meet their daily sport activities. In this way, we bring each other into the society.
In brief, our project is ethical and sustainable because it provides access to safe, affordable, accessible, and sustainable transport systems for all. It is efficient because it ensures that transport demand is met effectively, and there is more efficient use of resources such as energy. There is better quality of air and lower noise pollution, which leads to reduction of health costs associated with poor air quality and noise levels. So,
Excuse me
no
for
matter-
interrupting. Malik, you
Yeah.
have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, so no matter where we live, whether that's a big city or small island, life is better when our citizens' communities are filled with the green spaces, kept clean and safe, and welcoming of everyone who lives there. That's why it's important to properly plan and maintain our cities, and if things aren't running smoothly, fix it. So we propose you ethical and sustainable solutions for how to proceed with the primary aim of ensuring that we and the next generation have an environment worth living in. As the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, you explained your vision as fair, green, and creative city, Happy Istanbul. You emphasize that your core values are environmental awareness, being ethical, innovative, and people-oriented. Based on all this and your other explanations, we developed this project in order to find solutions to one of the most important problems of Istanbul. Again, our solution for the two pressing problems of your community, imbalance, essentially, our project addresses the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, and taking urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. From Cityling Consulting, it has been a pleasure to be part of this solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Cityling. Now, one of the things that concerns me about your suggestion is that we're going to have people, according to your executive summary, weaving back and forth to generate energy. I can just see lots of accidents happening and people getting severely injured because I don't remember seeing anybody wearing a helmet in your videos. Are we going to have a lot of injuries?
So first of all, our road will be like separated from the other seat. It will be separated via guardrails. So people will be just, that line will be just for the bicycles. And I can understand you. You said that because they do not have helmet and by moving back and forth, there will be an accident. But we will prevent this by making them to move only just in one line. So they cannot like pass each other to move. So they will be moving back and back. So it will not have any injury action for that reason.
And also I can add, we will have the helmet and the required things for the bicycle driving. So we will protect the people, of course, from any accidents. Health of the people is the most important thing for us, as we explain it to you. So of course we will take care of everything in this bike line.
So who owns the bicycles?
The bicycle will be from municipality, from you actually, from you. You will give the bicycles. Also with the bicycles, you can also give the helmet with them. We didn't put the picture, but of course our first, as Tuba mentioned, our first priority is human's health.
Farid?
Thank you, Cityling. That was wonderful. So one of the things that I was thinking of, as we invest in public infrastructure, one of the goals is to have it serve the most people. A lot of what I'm seeing from the presentation is that it's very focused on a younger group. There's social media engagement, there's working with university students, and biking itself is, thought of as more of a recreational endeavor, more so than commuting, at least in our city potentially right now. So if we were to invest in this, are we excluding a group, older, physically disabled, and so on? And how would you address that? And how would you engage people that might not be as apt to participate because of social media or health reasons?
Thank you for your question. First of all, our focus group is, yes, university students, since according to the research that we made we made an interview, and since that street there are many university students, and because of that we made an interview with them. And first, our focus group is university students, but also the other people will be able to use this street. Tuba, you can, or Sana, you can mention the other.
Yes, I can add some point of view. First of all, we are aimed group, university group, because young people use this road all the time in Istanbul. This is the most business line in Istanbul, because there is too much university in here. And first of all, it's a pilot project, first of all, and we cannot provide so many bicycles. The number of bicycles may be insufficient, and increase number of bicycle extend roads in a short time. We will develop our project more for disabled people maybe next time. But first of all, it's a pilot project. We can extend, no problem. But first of all, we have to use people have demands or not, because we have some survey for university students, and they said we want to bicycle path. We have a survey by Embarak. There is a high demand for safe bike line, but first of all we have to see for on the actually for the real time. We have to see our project is working or not. First of all, we have to see it, but for the next time we can extend this project for disabled people, for the others.
Does the bicycle itself generate electricity that you somehow store, or is the electricity only from the roof and the solar panels?
So first of all, it generates from two ways. First, from the solar panels, the first electricity that will be produced from renewable energy, and after that from the bicycle itself, since we know that there is so much source of kinetic energy in the bicycles, and we made a research how we can also produce the energy from the bicycles too, and we found a study made, the Young ETL study, which says that it's possible to generate energy, and they produced one electrodynamic digester that harvests the energy. So we will put I can say that mechanism to bicycles. So since the municipality will provide the bicycles, while you're providing, you will put that device on the bicycles too. So the people who will be using the bicycle will also generate energy, but that energy is a small amount of energy, not as a solar panels, but that will also contribute to the human daily needs. For example, while people will generate energy while moving the bicycle, they can plug their phones or their laptops, since that is also university road, so they will be able to that portable devices to, like, it will be served for the people needs. But for the solar panels, will provide electricity for the lights of the street, as well as the other electric demands, because it will produce, as our estimated calculations, it will produce as the demand of the city that requires for the electricity. And this also will lower your cost on the energy consumption on the other side. And also, thank you. Also, I want to add for this disabled people, yes, of course they will not be able to use the bicycle, but from this current problem they are also not able to use the public transport too, since they cannot come in because of the crowdness inside there. But since most of the people, and according to the demand, most of the people will use the bike line, so they will be able to use the public transport on the other side. And also for the blind people, in the first step, we want to put some tandem bicycles, just for a few of them, in order for also to them be able to use this bicycle path.
That's great. Thank you for addressing it. So it sounds like it's a more focused approach on the university students, at least for this pilot program, see how it goes. So when we're looking at this unused road, you know, there are some things that we could do from a city investment standpoint that can achieve what you were talking about, net zero, sustainable growth with transportation. And there are developments in things like technology with electric cars, electric buses, and whatnot. And why do you feel that you know, biking versus some of these alternative forms of transportation that might be able to reach more people, like an electric bus, for instance, or a carpool lane, might be a better solution for us to put our money there?
Thank you for your question. First of all, include like promote making as you said that technological things will be costly for you in the first step. And as we can see the structure of the city, we see that there is no any other place that people can use the bike and to use the bike as a transport option. Actually, there is no anything like that. So only they can use the bike line they have in a next to the sea, and they can use just as a sport there. They cannot use that bike to go from one point to another. So that is our main focus, because people, according to the surveys that we made, and according to the research that Embark study made, they see that there is a huge demand for the bicycle line. So we are here acting according to the demand of the city. So they want to have a bicycle line. So that's why our first pilot project is to make them available to, and we put them in a center of the city that they can reach the various points by using the bicycle path.
Also, for example, the cars, automobiles have end of life, but bicycles doesn't have an end of life. So this project is more sustainable, I think. We believe that. So that's why we focused on bicycle, and we want to create a bicycle friendly city. So that's why we focused on bicycles.
Years ago, the city of London prohibited certain cars from coming into the city depending on the day of the week. That reduced a lot of traffic to and from downtown London. Why not do something like that here in Istanbul?
Yeah, you're right, but actually they will prevent people from going from one point to another. Is it like that? Like they are preventing certain cars to enter the city, right?
Yes.
But it will prevent also the people. It's not ethical, I think, to prevent you cannot enter here. But giving them another transport option is more sustainable, I think. You can, like, saying that you cannot enter to this city with that car is a little bit. So by giving them another option that can be used by them, it's more sustainable, I think. That's why we think.
You talked about some of the ethical problems, from capacity to security to pollution and the psychological benefits, and you did a great job explaining what those problems are. How do you address some of the stuff like security, as an instance, that you know, biking on a lane, you know, how much safer is that at night versus, you know, taking public transportation that has a lot of people around? We can, you know, potentially monitor it better because it's mass gatherings. So how does this improve some of these ethical dilemmas that you brought, specifically around things like security?
Yeah, also it's related, we can say that it's more secure because in the public transport, since there are more crowded people, so there is a personal violation space there, adding to bus that
Yes,
you,
yes.
you
I
mentioned.
can add it. Public transport is adequate. The fact that public transport is very crowded and crowded does not make feel them safety, because there is so much harassment in this crowdedness, and it gives people some psychological effect and some nervous situation, and both of all of them, this situation gets some hard things. But with our project, we offer, if this large crowd chooses the bike lane path, the overcrowding in public transport will naturally decrease, and safety with our project, people will be safer in mobility, because it's less crowded than to the normal public transport. The road will be breathe, will be more safety at the same time, because it is take too much time to reach from one point from the another, because it's so much crowdedness. There is so much demand from public transport, and we will get to this crowdedness from this bicycle path. We want to get some new options, by the way.
So, thank you very much. The board of directors now has to get on in our cars and drive home. That's the end of the presentation. Take a deep breath. I can't imagine how difficult this was, but it didn't show. Just a little bit of perspective. The three of you were extraordinary. You shared the responsibilities equally. Your presentations were clear. I thought your slides were terrific. And there was an awful lot of information that we as board members had to take on. You did a very good job of explaining all that. Just in terms of style of presentation, I've always found it helpful. There are 3 steps in every presentation. The first is to start off, tell us what your solution is, just in a sentence or two. And I know you're going to do that in the 90-second presentation. Tell us what the solution is. Then tell us about the solution. And then at the very end, to summarize, remind us what you told us in the beginning. We're proposing bike lanes that will get cars off the road, generate electricity, keep people safe, and help the city of Istanbul. So something like, but you, faced with the technical challenges that you started off with this morning, excellent job. Thank you. Farid?
Thank you.
Yeah, Barney covered it well. You all did a wonderful job. It was, you tackled a very challenging problem for many cities, and it's not an easy one to figure out. There's a lot of different options, but you did a wonderful job addressing what some of those challenges are, and how this, as one of many solutions as a pilot program, could go a long way in supporting a larger problem. And I think innovative ideas like this will be what helps us out as a global community. And so kudos to you all for tackling this.